On the surface, China is not participating in the Russia-Ukraine war, but we also don't want to see Russia defeated, because if Russia is crushed, we would truly be alone. Many friends understand the current situation as an unending three-way standoff between the great powers. If Russia is dragged down in this war, the United States will inevitably unite the whole of NATO to fight against China. So how should we break that game now? In fact, there is no need to panic at all. The reason Russia has been dragged into a 3-year war is that it underestimated the enemy. Moreover, its military equipment is very old, and its economy and trade rely too heavily on imports. Although Great Russia has vast territory, its population is regrettably small. Over the past 3 years, the war has caused countless casualties. By contrast, in China these years, the focus has been on science and technology and advanced equipment rather than reckless expansion. As for fighting the United States with modern weapons, that's not even close to being the case. Even if the US were to unite all of NATO, countries like Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines are not on a level to oppose us. This is not a boast by some soldier. Behind it, there is a great power game that is far smarter than we imagine. Next, let's analyze objectively. Even if Russia were to be defeated, the United States would not launch a direct war with China. After all, in recent years, our country has fielded various advanced weapons that impose costs the United States cannot bear. The greatest pressure we face today is the West's attempt at encirclement. They are more likely to use the boil the frog trick in warm water, that is, create flashpoints in the Indo-Pacific, drawing in NATO or regional partners to generate conflicts. For example, they try to pull Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines into disputes over the Taiwan Strait and the South China Sea, stoking continuous trouble to force China into action. Then, having drawn us into war, they would impose economic sanctions through united Europe, compelling other countries to choose sides and attempting to squeeze China out of the global supply chain. What we must do first is rely on regional consolidation to counter any provocation. Our Dongfeng missiles can cover the entire areas of Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines. If those 3 small countries dare to start a war with us, Dongfeng Express will relentlessly strike and neutralize their key military bases. Its combat capability will be paralyzed. Then there are our hypersonic missiles, which can cover the island chains first. It doesn't matter whether the US fields nuclear aircraft carriers or what ships NATO sends. If they dare approach the Taiwan Strait or the South China Sea, they face the risk of being hit. Even the most advanced US Patriot 3 systems cannot stop our hypersonic missiles. Air surveillance and unmanned systems protect our airspace. China's military equipment is not outdated, it's modern, and some weapons even surpass the US. This is the basis of China's confidence. NATO countries are mostly in Europe. If they come to Asia, North Korea's friendship with China becomes an obstacle. North Korea's military power is growing. On the basis of anti-US friendship, it will counter the West together with China. If our borders are secure, NATO will not dare to attack. And if they do attack, they will not be able to inflict major damage, because we are fighting at our own doorstep, and our armed forces can defeat any invader. After external interference ends, the best opportunity to bring Taiwan back will present itself. The US can impose sanctions on Russia because Russia depended more on the Western economy. But China is completely different from Russia. China is the only country in the world with a complete industrial system. From tiny screws to large rail vehicles and aircraft, we can make everything ourselves, not only the equipment, but also all modern supplies. That is enough to stabilize a market of 1.4 billion people. China has signed long-term agreements with many countries and is building factories and railways under the Belt and Road Initiative. If the United States forces those countries to sanction China, their own development would stall. Those countries are not fools. They know who is beneficial and who is not, and they will not blindly follow the US anymore. Today, the US dream of global supremacy is merely an idea. In the end, even if Russia were to be defeated, we have no need to fear. China's strength is not based on alliances alone, but on our vast territory, large population, industrial self-reliance, and strong defense. These are not empty words, but a real analysis of power and interests. The great power game is not emotional. It is a test of patience. In the end, whoever keeps smiling to the last wins. The Chinese armed forces have learned from history. They do not fight without preparation. If they fight fully prepared. Even in difficult times, they will act strategically and prevail.